Can I provoke you into answering the question then of did TTI take you out of your comfort zone or put you more in your comfort zone?
I would say TTI put us out of our comfort zone. It forced us to think, hey guys, wait a minute. If you are thinking about making a difference, if you are thinking about engaging in policy, you'll have to think about range of ways you do it. Producing knowledge, research is fine. We've been doing that for the last 20 years. But then if you want to, make a dent, you have to do differently. You have to invest more in engagement. You have to recognize that people may have very different perspective from you do. And then you may have your own bias and prejudices as a researcher, but others do have. So you need to recognize those differences, and then you need to work around those differences. And clearly, once you begin this process of kind of dialogue and conversation, you find out areas where you have similarities, where you agree, and where you can begin to make a difference.
If TTI had not come to you, you think all of this might not have quite happened the way it has happened now?
So we would continue to have produced, I guess, knowledge on the kind of things we do, but perhaps in the same way, in the same way that we've been doing 5 years earlier, not thinking differently, not thinking in an organized sense. So in that way, I think TTI really was key for us to begin that transformation, begin to think institutionally, begin to think about expanding our board of governors.
The TTI's distinctive feature is that, first of all, it combines, it has come like a programmatic approach, although some of the other funders perhaps have supported an institution, particular country. But this is a concerted, well thought out programmatic approach, how to build up the capacities of think tanks in the South. And that has enabled CPD to do two things. One is that oftentimes, because we don't think that we are just research organization, we should be also influencing policies and practices. We often see that there are issues that come up. For example, there has been a large scam in the financial sector. You have to react. You have to bring in the stakeholders so that this is not prevented. This is prevented. So those things are not covered by any program because you cannot foresee those issues. So this support gives us the flexibility and autonomy to organize, stakeholder dialogues, to do some quick research and come up with certain recommendations which we think that are very important. So
I heard a certain strain of conversation during the past few days that struck me as being somewhat unusual. That participation in TTI has actually given us a lot of knowledge about our own institution, our strengths, our weaknesses, our ability to reach out, our inability to reach out, our friends, our not so friends. How does that work with CPD?
Yes, I fully agree with this. So that also really compels us to think why some institution has been better in mobilizing funds, why some institutions have been better in terms of getting their research quality improved, why some institutions have been able to retain many PhDs. So we try to, in our own implicit ways, to try to learn from our think tanks.
And do I hear you saying as well, besides the very good points you made, Mr. Pizu, that core funding of this kind enables you to take greater risks with what you do, how you do it?
So it really gives me the flexibility.
Right.
To
you can manage the risks.
I can manage the risks, yeah. That should be. You see, for example, one of our core areas of interest is to monitor the performance of the Bangladeshi economy on a continuing basis, and then putting the policymakers on their toes when we are seeing that there are some signals transmitting from the economy which needs to be urgently attended to. And these issues come up, it doesn't wait for us, it comes up, suddenly maybe the government has started to borrow more money, it is crowding out the private investment and you have to react. So those type of things always crops up. All the government is going for some sort of fiscal policies or deficit financing or subsidy policies which you think that could create long-term or medium-term problems. So you don't wait for some project funding to come and then do your research and then
respond.
So you can spontaneously respond, and those are the types really we have seen in the context of this particular support, that the policymakers also look out for those type of policy suggestions, because sometimes they also unknowingly also pursue policies which then when you point it out, and then sometimes they at the moment they would not show that there has been some lack of good policy making, but then they react to it, and we have seen it in the context of Bangladesh also, that when we came up with those type of research outputs, they have said, no, our policy is fine, but then if you look at it, and after some time they have started to shift the policies.
So Anshu, I guess the first question that really is important, and that seems to have been part of the conversation here at Maravilla, is this whole issue of core support versus projects. Any thoughts on how this has panned out in C-STEP, but more broadly in the ecosystem of things?
I think TTI, as you said rightly, is a unique experiment, especially for fledgling think tanks or even the older ones, because core support is always something which institutions desire. Now, TTI experiment is unique because giving such a core support places an implicit trust in the organization. That look, I'm giving you this money, you do what you feel best for your institution. And we won't question it as long as you are convinced that you are using the money in the best possible way. So it comes with a very high degree of trust and faith. Now, in that sense, it is a bit of a high risk venture also, because there could be some institutions which do not utilize the support fully or to maximize the benefit from this core support. But there will be some institutions which will use this money to become shining examples of success, who will, so to say, leapfrog to reach a next level, which they would not have been able to do with project support. And if there are a certain critical mass of these institutions which are shining examples of success, then that impacts the ecosystem as a whole. That look, these institutions could do with core support, so why can't we do it? Now, in the specific case of C-STEP, because we are a relatively new organization, just about 6-7 years old, it helped us enormously, especially in building research capacity, having our organizational processes in place, and most importantly, having high-level policy input. Most importantly, workshops like these, where institutions from across the region come together, and we get to share the knowledge, we get to learn from what NCAER has done in the last 57 years, which is enormous learning for institutions like us. And also the fact that this cohort combines institutions which are from science, from social sciences, from economics, from all kind of backgrounds. I think it's a unique synergy which this kind of a cohort provides. But in terms of architecture, I think it was a wonderful decision to go with the core support. And I think that's something we should persist in. Also because it's a learning for other donors also.
Yes.
Because it kind of convinces them that look, here is an institution which is willing to place faith on institutions and have the confidence that at least some of them will deliver on the promise and become high quality institutions.
No, it is remarkable that, and it's not just one funder, 5 have come together.
Right.
And that actually suggests that there is a certain conviction in numbers that these 5 are convinced of the value. Thank you very much, Anshu, and it's a great pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
And thank you for listening.